Welcome, Libra. It's your May Moon Magic 1 month forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. May has 5 key lunations, including 2 quarter moons, which can be just as influential. At its heart, we have a stunning new moon in Taurus, which is amplified by the quick-witted energies of Mercury. And at its very end, we have a powerful blue moon. I'm going to share each of these moon events on screen for you, Libra, from a purely Libran perspective. I'm also going to share about the role of Venus this month, your ruler, which can be very positive. But Mars, the planet of passion, although it does forge a great link to Venus, he does interact with those lunations in a potentially challenging way. By the end of the video, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what's upcoming in terms of energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So on the screen is the Scorpio full moon as we came into the month. And the moon in Scorpio can be very protective, but for you, it's the second house, which kind of has a Taurus energy. It's very much to do with our foundations, our values, can be everyday money. But the moon in Scorpio can keep its celestial cards quite close to its chest. And maybe there is something that needs to be discussed around finances because the sun is in your 8th house, which is longer term financial planning, can be to do with entrepreneurship, but also shared resources. But the second and 8th houses across Scorpio and Taurus are fixed energies, which can make us perhaps a little inflexible, wanted to stick with what we know. But it can also be where desire shows its energy too. And Pluto, very much to do with power, is intersecting the moon and the sun in a way which can amp up any power dynamics. So if you're attached to anything, lifestyle choices, what you spend your money on, perhaps someone you're drawn to in an intimate way, but not knowing whether the relationship has really got potential for a full-time involvement, all of that is going to be under the astral microscope in the first 2 weeks. But let's look at your ruler, Libra, because Venus is in the truth-seeking part of your chart. It's in the vivacious Gemini. And if you're happily ensconced in a relationship, the chances are you're going to be planning a trip because Venus in the 9th house, whether it's to watch a band, a concert, taking some cultural interest, or travel somewhere further, Venus loves all that in the 9th house. But it's her link to Saturn, which is particularly impressive. So if your relationship is pretty solid, the full moon's not going to touch it in the first 2 weeks of this month. What it can do is actually see you become more at ease with one another. However, the opposite can be true. If you're not really feeling that someone shares the same approach, has the same commitment as you, what Venus can do is tease into your thinking, one, the need for a higher truth, but two, the need for personal freedom. Now, Mars, also in that 7th house of relating, like Saturn, is in a square with Jupiter. If you're reaching out to try to improve those long-term finances, setting up interviews, meeting potential clients, doing presentations, Mars in that square with Jupiter can give you a lot of get up and go. But it's important that you don't overdo, you don't oversell, because that is the risk with that aspect. And the other thing that really stands out at the start of this month is Mercury, the communicator, is in a conjunction with Chiron. If you recall, when we had the new moon in Aries, that was in a conjunction with Chiron, gave you the chance to think about some of your relationship responses. You get another chance at the start of this month. So if part of the dynamic is how you value yourself, or even how attractive you feel you are in terms of your sexual chemistry, I think those are themes that can be discussed, but Pluto likely will amplify the intensity for good or bad. If we fast forwards to the first of the 2 quarter moons, it's in your fellow air sign of Aquarius. But for you, that's the fifth house, which can be very much to do with being playful and joyful. But if that relationship that you're hooked on, that you're finding difficult to separate from, it might even be somewhat addictive, that could come under the astral microscope again, because the moon square with the sun suggests if you are bound into something psychologically which is not bringing true joy, perhaps you need to think again. Now, Mars continues to forge that strong right angle with Jupiter. So when it comes to your professional situation, the moon encourages you to show confidence in your flair, and obviously that could monetize. Now, Mercury is supporting the sun now, having moved into Taurus on the 3rd, and that helps you to decipher some long term financial planning issues, potentially very helpfully. But look at the position of the sun to Jupiter. It's extremely strong at this point of the month. So even if a romantic relationship is still uncertain, if you are wanting to push on and use and convert your talents to some kind of lasting benefit, some real fortune could play out over the following week. So that's truly encouraging. You can also see that Venus is moving forwards and coming into a sextile with Mars. That becomes much more exact by the time of the new moon. But again, if you do travel somewhere, particularly if you're solo, there could be a spicy attraction coming your way. Now, the Taurus new moon is a super new moon. And the big takeout, look at Venus, your ruler, right at the top of the chart. So very influential, and it's in that almost perfect sextile to Mars. So if there is someone you're drawn to and it's going well, it could really be cooking on the proverbial gas. But Mars is no longer in that square with Jupiter, but Jupiter is supporting the new moon. The moon loves being in Taurus. It's exalted because it's the second favorite location for the moon to be after Cancer, the sign she rules. And here, your appreciation of all that's sensual or perhaps good quality is really turned up. But this gives you a platform over the following month to push forwards around your professional or worldly goals in quite a powerful and positive way. What I would say is that if that relationship issue is still inhibiting you, Mars's conjunction to Chiron perhaps suggests that maybe you have the confidence to talk to someone if you feel that you can't quite shift some of your thinking or approaches. But that brings us to the second quarter moon on the 23rd. By now, the sun has moved into Gemini and has merged with Uranus in Gemini for the first time in 77 years. And it brings a completely different dimension to your month for you personally. It's more about being free. It's more about being liberated. That eighth house energy is great if you're really working on improving your finances or closeness when it's going well. It's not so great if you're dealing with heavy, intense, and perhaps almost controlled circumstances. So it can be like a breath of fresh air, the sun moving into Gemini. It's just that the 23rd, the moon for you is in the very psychological 12th house, and it's in a square, not just with the sun, but also with Uranus. So it's possible that something can come out into the open through the last or the following week through to the end of the month, which could be of a very delicate nature. But if you are wanting to make progress around your work, Mars has now moved from the 18th into Taurus, where it really has an appetite to convert ideas and passion into something better and more tangible. But Mars's link to Venus is fantastic. So I think your finances can improve through this last phase of the month. And it's just that Mars is also in a quarrel with Pluto. So if that heavy emotional involvement, that psychological or lifestyle, uh, can I dare say addiction that may be gripping you at the start of the month, if it's still there at the end of the month, it can get very powerful. But you may find someone all the more irresistible, even if you know that person's not the right person, the right one for you. But this gathering of energy, including uh, including Mercury in the ninth house, is really urging you to try to liberate yourself from something that you're not enjoying, or perhaps liberate yourself from some self-limiting thinking. You know, the moon in the 12th house can be your fears. So that does still bring opportunities. And Jupiter, still in the high in the sky, is joined by Venus, which in itself can be lucky too. And that brings us to the final event of the month at Libra, which is the blue moon on the 31st. The moon and the sun are in opposition. So there's going to be lots of very quick moving discussions. But the moon in the third house can be quite good at denying emotion, and the moon in Sagittarius can be very mutable. So you may find that your first line of defense around anything tricky could be avoidance. That's obviously something we all do at times, but just be conscious of the role of Mars, because Mars is in the part of your chart that's very much to do with desire. And maybe the conversations you need to have as this month come to a close are about those desires. But Mercury, the planet of communication, in its home sign, is nearly right at the top of your chart as the month comes to a close. And I can assure you, the early part of June could be the most sensational time for you as far as your professional hopes are concerned, as long as you're not being distracted by this heavy politics that might be showing up in the last 10 days with the Mars Pluto square. I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next, Libra. But just to say, you can download my moon guide. Within it, you can look at your moon sign, house, the mythology, the astronomy, and the astrology. Totally free. Please download that below. So, to summarize, professionally, I think with a Jupiter initially being supercharged by the desire of Mars and then being joined by your ruler Venus from the middle of the month suggests that your ability to cultivate relationships skillfully can really come back to you this month. But I think the first 2/3 of this month could see you locked in some kind of drama. The sun's move into Gemini gives you the chance to liberate yourself from it, but it may be a drama that, in a way, you're actually creating by some of your inner blockages. So that's the chance you have towards the end of this month, is to try to change your thinking or release what's no longer serving your greater good. But whether it's a lifestyle choice or someone you find very, very hard to resist, that could be the big background theme of all these lunations this month for you. As far as energy is concerned, Saturn's in your seventh house. Saturn can be about limitation. Chiron's there as well, can be about health. If you are in any kind of emotional exchange with someone that doesn't lift your energy, that's not going to be good for you. In terms of neat finance, I think your eighth house energies start off complicated, but if you're working collaboratively with someone and it's going well, I actually feel there's a great opportunity for you to do better towards the end of this month from a financial viewpoint. I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. You pay for your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that are played out so far, but get a more intimate understanding of them and work with those energies future forwards that much better. Free, you get your 12 months transit forecast and also your draconic soul karmic analysis. 3 for the price of 1. Please see below for more. Why? I've been full-time for 30 years, but my interest in astrology came through when I was 14. The first classical album I ever got was The Planets, which is about astrology, not astronomy. And ever since then, it's been a major part of my life. Natal astrology helps us to really navigate this particular journey that much better. By sharing the love about natal astrology, I hope to help others too. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your May monthly forecast, please see that on the screen, yet to watch your Pluto retrograde 5-month forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do so now. Get that early day celestial pit stop. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Libra. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great May.